overall last night, Canadians handing the Liberals a fourth straight mandate with Prime Minister Mark Carney at the helm of another minority government. Last night's victory completing one of the biggest comebacks in Canadian history for the Liberals, who just 3 months ago were at the risk of losing party status in a snap election. But the emergence of Carney and the economic and sovereignty threats from Donald Trump revitalized the party's support. And joining us live this morning for some more election analysis is political commentator and partner at the Oyster Group, Amanda Galbraith. Amanda, good to talk to you. What do you make of this fourth straight Liberal term, third straight minority government, and Pierre Poilievre losing his seat? Where do you want to start?
I don't know. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with a Liberal win. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go there. It's a major feat for the Liberals to pull off a fourth term, right? This hasn't happened in generations. It says that voters bought the idea that Mark Carney is change or different from Prime Minister Trudeau. I also think it tells us that the ballot box question, at least for those over 60, was around Trump and that threat. So I think, the real big X factor in this election campaign was U.S. President Trump, who remains remarkably silent on this so far after endorsing himself yesterday to win the race. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And Amanda, another big story is, the official opposition, the Conservative Party. However, Pierre Poilievre losing his seat in Carleton. I don't know if this is a result of the 90 or so independent MPs who put their name on in protest of the electoral system. But what do you make of this? Because in his speech, he didn't know about the results of his riding yet. And he said he's planning to stay on as Conservative leader. So what happens now?
So there's an interesting, it's really an interesting dynamic. Now, the Conservatives did quite well in Ontario, Ottawa basically bucking the trend. Their numbers were up across the province, which meant they cut into places like in the Windsor region and Hamilton where they couldn't have. But yes, Pierre Poilievre loses his seat is highly unusual, highly inconvenient. The Conservatives have adopted the Reform Act, which is basically a policy that empowers the caucus to trigger leadership votes to kick people in and out of caucus. So they will have to meet at the next caucus meeting to decide if they are going to want to empower the Reform Act, at which point they can either then decide to have a leadership review or not, or they can kick it back over to the party apparatus who could do that. Now, from talking to Conservatives last night and early this morning, we've been on our chats and text messaging, talking on the phone. I can say there is an appetite for Pierre Poilievre to stay on. He secured the largest popular vote turnout since Brian Mulroney. The seat count is way up, I think 25 seats. We don't know quite yet where they're going to land. But there's a belief that what he's done here is very similar to what Stephen Harper did in 2004, which was coming close but not quite, expanding their vote coalition substantially to new demographics. So I think there's certainly a big appetite in the Conservative Party to have him stay on. It will have to shake out in the coming days around what happens, including, are some of those seats that flip, do they go to a Liberal majority? But I think Pierre has a good chance of staying on as leader.
Okay, that'll be interesting to watch. In the meantime, let's watch and see where Mark Carney takes things. Amanda, what will you be looking for as Mark Carney, forms a cabinet? Because a lot of the re-elected MPs last night really came out of the Justin Trudeau era as well.
Yeah, that will be a challenge for him to demonstrate change, to my mind, right? If he's got the same folks in senior positions that the former prime minister did. Now, we already know likely François-Philippe Champagne, who is the current finance minister, was a change from Chrystia Freeland. My guess is he will stay in that seat. But I think now that Mark Carney has time to form a proper cabinet, you may see him maybe do a wartime cabinet, bring people in from outside, which I know is something they were contemplating coming into the election. There are certainly a large base for them to pull from, nearing majority territory. I think we're 167 right now for their votes, but we'll find out in the next 24 hours. So he will have to shift some folks in different seats. He can't just reappoint the same people, which would make sense. But I think bottom line is this is very much a leader-driven party at this point. And what Mark Carney's first 100 days look like? How does he move on energy? What does he do about the carbon tax? What does he do with the U.S.? Does he go down to see Donald Trump in the next week or two? There'll be big changes for him to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amanda, very quickly, let's talk about the NDP losing 17 seats. Pretty historical. Jagmeet Singh stepping down as leader now. What do you see if it does turn out to be, in fact, a Liberal minority government? Where do the alliances fall with the Bloc Québécois or NDP in terms of supporting them to get things done?
Yeah, we could see, for example, the Liberals start to have conversations with some of those 7 NDP MPs or 8. I don't know where we're at right now, and because they don't have official party status, right? So that deprives them of many things. So we could see floor crossing to see if the Liberals can get closer to a majority. Who's going to be the speaker? I mean, there's lots of politics that are going to roll out over the next few weeks. But one thing I will say is you can write a story positively about both the Liberals and the Conservatives, or negatively about their results. The NDP got their clocks cleaned in this election campaign. It was a resounding statement from Canadians that we do not think that you, under this leadership of Jagmeet Singh, are the right party to advocate for us. So I think the NDP has some soul searching to do, but I do believe they have the ability to come back. I don't think that they're out forever because they have that muscle memory in the provincial parties where they do govern. So I think they need to do a lot of internal review, get a real leader in there that can actually have some political punches, and then come back.
Yeah, this definitely seemed to be a unique election that really coalesced around the two major parties in this country. Amanda Galbraith, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much, and we'll see how things shake out in the next few days. Thanks again.
Thanks, Amanda.